Hello everybody, a Kinder Surprise is probably the most desirable sweet for any children that you can buy in the supermarket. Although I don't think that any adults would turn it down either. So let's open up the Kinder. In fact, it's just an egg made with chocolate. Rather, of two types, milk and white. And inside it has a yellow capsule that you can find a toy in when you open it. Maybe it just seems like it to me, but these toys were much more interesting in my childhood. Over the past 6 months, I've been thinking in detail about how to make a giant Kinder Surprise so that it turns out to be perfect, just like a factory-made one. And finally, I came up with it. Please give this video your likes in advance, and now let's start. Have you ever wondered how chocolate was made? There are whole plantations where cocoa fruits are grown. We bought 4 of these ripe fruits. They are very large and cumbersome. We break it into 2 parts, and we see the white seeds inside. These are ripe cocoa beans, but to turn them into chocolate, they need to be processed for a long time. We transfer them to a wooden barrel, and cover them with saran wrap. The beans will be in this barrel for 7 days and fermented. Well, it's time to retrieve them. Excellent. Our cocoa beans have been fermented and smell pleasantly like vinegar. We take a dryer like this and put all our beans in it. We set it to 40 degrees and turn it on. That way they continue drying for another 7 days. A week has passed and the cocoa beans are dehydrated. But to make a giant Kinder, this is definitely not enough. So I bought some more dry cocoa beans. They look exactly like ours. These beans are raw, so we go outside and pour 2 bags of beans into the cauldron. We still need to chop wood. Let's open the stove and put some crumpled paper and small firewood into it. Kindle the fire. When it is flared up, we begin to mix the cocoa beans. That way they fry more evenly. After about 10 minutes of roasting, they begin to smell very tasty. There for about 5 more minutes and you can check. The husks should easily come off the roasted cocoa beans. We remove them from the fire. The roasting stage has been passed. Now we take another bowl. We remove the shell from each cocoa bean. We break the core and transfer to the second bowl. We get these kind of cocoa nibs. We use this as the main raw material for making milk chocolate. We also bought a box like this. We open it, and inside we see a lot of cocoa butter. It looks and feels like an all-in-one laundry soap. So that it can be quickly melted later, we set it up with a knife. This is a very sticky process. Two hours later, we got a whole basin of finely crushed cocoa butter. In order to properly make chocolate, you need a machine called a mélanger. In fact, this is an electric mill with such stone millstones. We grind cocoa nibs, milk powder, sugar, and cocoa butter into it. We collect 1 kilogram of cocoa nibs and pour it into the mélanger. A full glass of powdered milk, a glass of sugar, and turn it on. All the ingredients are mixed and gradually ground into a more delicate powder. Add some cocoa butter. It will gradually warm up from friction and the mass will become. And now it just takes time. The grains will become smaller and smaller. In the meantime, let's turn on another machine called Marmite. It will heat the chocolate so that it remains a liquid. Fill it with water up to the maximum. We set it on 2 and turn it on. 2 hours have passed. The chocolate has become even thinner. To make it taste familiar to us, we add vanilla extract. And in factory chocolate, a powder called soy lecithin is used. We need to add quite a lot of it. It is completely harmless, and it is only made to use to make the chocolate more liquidy. The chocolate has been 3 hours in the Melanger. We turn it off, and we pour it into the gastro capacity. The first portion of natural milk chocolate is ready. We put the tray into the Marmite so that the chocolate doesn't freeze. Now we load the next batch. This time, for the Melanger to grind the cocoa nibs faster, we pour it in gradually. Then gradually pour in cocoa butter. When the mass has become a liquid, gradually it's sugar. Milk powder, and other additives. We wait another 2.5 hours and pour the chocolate into our tray. And for the third time, we add more powdered milk and 4 hours of stirring. It turned out very nice, perfectly glossy milk chocolate. We also transfuse it. It took us 2 days to fill the tray to the brim. We mix all of these things together, and we're done. The next stage is tempering. You may ask, why is this necessary? I'll show you an example of 2 tiles. We filled one with melted chocolate, and the second with tempered. After solidification, we take them out. And the one that is just melted melts very quickly, remaining in your hands. But the tempered chocolate is glossy. To it, cocoa butter crystals are combined into a strong crystal lattice. Therefore, when you break it, there's a crunch. In order to temper a large volume of chocolate, we increase the heating. And constantly stirring, we heat the chocolate to 45 degrees. We get the tray out, and let's go outside. We put it onto a cold tile. Constantly stirring, literally in 15 minutes the chocolate should cool down to exactly 25 degrees. That said, we return the chocolate back to the heat and heat it up to 31 degrees. This is the end of tempering. We will pour chocolate into such large egg halves. I ordered these forms 6 months ago at a factory in America, and now they have arrived. These forms cost 20,000 hryvnias, or 54,000 rubles. So, we open the alcohol, pour it into the mold, and rub it around with a napkin. So that way it'll be perfectly clean and the chocolate will shine. Done. Now we send the forms to the freezer for 1 hour. They should be cool completely. Now that the molds are icy, we scoop up the chocolate, pour it into the mold, and distribute evenly. The chocolate seizes instantly. Fill it as evenly as possible so that there are even walls of the same thickness everywhere. We drain the excess chocolate back in. One more time, we put it into the freezer. And we fill in the forms again. And one more go around. The forms are always very heavy and you can't twist them in your hands. Therefore, we pour the chocolate along the walls and smear it around with a spatula. That way, we filled up all the milk chocolate. But there is also a white one in Kinder. So let's do that. We need cocoa butter, milk powder, sugar, and soy lecithin. And of course a melanger. We collect a full measuring cup of cocoa butter. We turn on the melanger and begin to pour in very gradually. There is literally 1/3 of a teaspoon of soy lecithin. We collect 700 grams of sugar and gradually pour it in. Well, we've got a full measuring cup of powdered milk. And now it just takes time. Grains of powdered milk and sugar will decrease and interfere with the butter. The correct consistency will be happening in 2 hours later. Pour our homemade white chocolate into the Marmite. We cooked white chocolate for 15 hours. And we also temper it. And we also pour that into the mold the same way. It's smeared around with a spatula. We poured white chocolate in one very long approach. While you were smearing one form, the second one has time to freeze, so you can change them around like that. Now the chocolate egg halves are ready. Let's make an integral part of the Kinder Surprise, namely the yellow capsule. To do this, we bought a plastic barrel for 20 liters. We bend the fastenings for the handle and remove them. The barrel is shaped like a capsule, but not in color. Therefore, we unscrew from the lid and take it to a safe place for painting. Shake the cans with spray paint and cover the barrel with yellow. We completely painted it in 3 approaches. Now we've got a big yellow capsule like that. In my opinion, it kind of looks like the original. What kind of gift will we put inside? I thought everything out in advance and I bought a big Bluetooth speaker on the internet. We opened it up and put it inside, as well as wires and instructions. That's it, you can close it. We put our surprise in one of the Kinder halves. We take out the second one. Perfect. At first, we just melted the edge of the chocolate with a burner and tried to install the second half of the egg on top. But they did not dock, and there were very large gaps. Therefore, we take out the other half. With a knife, we cut off the uneven edge. And try it again. This way it worked out more or less pretty smooth. And to glue these two halves together, we pass some white chocolate along the joint. Now our Kinder is ready. But what kind of Kinder would it be without colorful packaging? To make that, we take the molds again and line the foil on top of them, gluing each layer with double-sided tape. Next, you need acrylic paints, rollers, brushes, and pencils. First, you need to make a red and white background. And then we apply multicolored inscriptions. In my opinion, it turned out really nice. So we put the lower part of the wrapper on the floor. Carefully lower our Kinder into it. And together with the foil, we lift it back up. We put the other half of the package on top. We connect the planes and fix it with a stapler. With scissors, cut off the excess foil. And gently bend the edge. Now we just have to paint the gaps. And this giant Kinder Surprise is completely ready. It turns out very nice and beautiful. This time we repeated it almost one-on-one. Taking into account the forms, the machine for making chocolate and products, it cost us 50,000 hryvnias. This is 136,000 rubles, and it took us 5 days to prepare it. So answer me one question. Who will experience the most joy when they see this huge Kinder? Of course it is children. Therefore, we mask it with a golden cloth, load it into the car, and take it to the mother and child's house. The children were very happy and just tore up at this Kinder Surprise. Hello everyone. Today, as I promised, we will prepare a giant donut weighing 120 kilograms. Let's go. We're going to the store. We bought 6 liters of butter, 40 kilograms of flour, ,40 kilograms of sugar, many packs of mastic, baking powder, starch, many different dyes, frozen strawberries, ,8 kilograms of condensed milk, 2 boxes of chicken eggs. We put all this under the cash register. And all these products cost $356. We begin to prepare the dough. We open up the boxes. We take out the trays with the eggs. And now we split our towers from the chicken eggs. We split our towers of the chicken eggs and put 2 plastic containers on the table. Now we divide each egg into the yolk and protein. Nothing complicated, but we have 630 of them. It took 2 hours to separate all of them. Done. We have completely filled the containers. And now we take 3 large basins. We scoop up the yolks with a measuring cup and pour the same amount into the basins. Now we need sugar. We open up the bags. ,40 kilograms of sugar is scattered into each basin. Also pour in 1 liter of water. With the help of a construction mixer, we mix them. The mass should increase in volume and turn white. Now you need 6 liters of oil. Open it. And pour the same amount into each basin. What kind of dough would it be without flour? We open it. And we scatter 40 kilograms into the basins. For this splendor of the dough, we add baking powder. Open it, and put ½ kilogram in each basin. And once again, we mix thoroughly with a construction mixer. In the process, we also added water, as the dough turned out to be very thick. Now we return to the chicken whites. We need 4 mixers and 1 standing mixer. We scoop up the whites with a measuring cup and set exactly 300 milliliters into the bowl. And for the mixers, we measure twice as much, 150 each, and we fill them up. Turn it on. Right now, we have 5 servings of proteins whipped at the same time. We are waiting for them to turn into a foam. We send proteins from 4 small bowls into 2 basins. In the 3rd basin, the bowl from the stand mixer. Gently using a spatula, we mix this foam into the dough to preserve as many air bubbles as possible. We made a small mini conveyor, and while one person measures and whips, the second, that is, me, mixes them into the dough. And so for 3 hours. That's it, the dough is finally ready. And it's become much liquidier. The only way to make a large-sized donut is to bake it in the custom-made mold. It looks like just a factory one. We open the oil into the can and sprinkle it from the inside. Now let's glue on some parchment to it. You need to cover the whole mold with it. And finally, we pour the dough from all 3 basins into the mold. Done. We will bake the dough in our huge oven. Now in total with the baking sheet, all this weighs 150 kilograms. We transfer it into the oven. And push it in. But that's not all. The mold needs to be raised and put a brake disc with a bearing under it. Now this structure can be rotated very easily. Ignite the burners, and we close the oven. We need to maintain a temperature of 160 degrees. Every 2 hours, we will slightly open the doors, pull the rope, and turn the mold so that the dough is evenly baked. And while the donut is being baked, we will make a cream that will go inside. We open up the frozen strawberries, pour them into a large saucepan. We put it on the stove. And in half an hour, the strawberries should defrost and let the juice out. Add 2 kilograms of sugar. Mix that thoroughly with an immersion blender. Now we add the condensed milk. Cut through the film and squeeze the condensed milk into a saucepan. Now we open up 2 kilograms of starch. Also pour that into the saucepan. And knead until smooth. In order to break up the lumps really well, we use a whisk. And add some pink dye. And we mix that up. After that, we pour this mass into strawberry. Mix it up, and it starts to thicken. We need a thick custard like this. Unwinding a special bag for the vacuum cleaner, we cut off about 1 meter, and we dissolve it along. We solder 3 such long packages together into one large one. Now it turns out a very large pastry bag. We cut off the tip of it. We push the iron tube through and fix it with plastic ties. Now we cut off all the excess. And we fill the bag with our berry cream. That's it, it's full. We return to the glaze. To do this, we cut in half a lot of lemons. With the help of such a special machine, we squeeze the juice out of all of them. The machine squeezes the juice right to the maximum, much more convenient and faster than with your hands. Done. It turned out to be a whole bowl of sour lemon juice. Now let's paint it pink. The second thing you need to do for the glaze is powdered sugar. Lots of powdered sugar. We open it and send it all to a large basin. Then pour in parts of the tinted lemon juice. Mix it up. Now we'll get the consistency of a very thick glaze. For the last preparatory stage, we open up the mastic. Now this is quite dense. Therefore, we send it into the microwave. When heated, it is much softer. In 4 briquettes of mastic, we add the different dyes. Mix all that well with your hands until all the dyes go in. Done. We shift it into a square shape. We press the mastic with our hands. We repeat the same thing with each color. Then we just cut it into slices. We get this kind of increased sprinkling. We got all the colors like this. The donut is already cooked. We take it out of the oven and bring it into the studio. To turn it all in, we install a special cover. We snap it on. Turn it over. And unsnap the fasteners. Now we lift off the mold. And we tear off all the unnecessary parchment. Now it can be moved to the table. The shape turned out to be a little bit wrong, but in general it looks like a donut. We push in the cooking bag, and we push out more cream. Now for the glaze. Just pour it all over the top of the donut. And now the last thing, we spread out the multicolored sprinkles. Done. As I promised, we cooked a very huge donut weighing as much as 120 kilograms, and it took 3 whole days to prepare it. I think it's worthy of your like and for you to subscribe to the channel. Let's cut it open and see what's inside. There's just so much cream. Let's try a piece.